Prey is the newest film in the Predator series that just came on Hulu last weekend. I got to check it out, and we're going to talk about it. Hello everyone, it is Joshua with Feature Filmmaker Reviews. I talk movies, TV, anime, and music. And if you guys like any one of those things, consider coming over to this channel and give my channel a subscribe, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new videos. All my social media links are also in the description box down below, as well as my Cash App and my Amazon wish list. If you'd like to send anything as far as fan mail, or if you want to send something as a little birthday present. Because this is, as of recording this is the week of my 24th birthday. So Prey is the 5th movie in the franchise, or 7th if you count Alien vs. Predator, which I do. This is directed by Trachtenberg, and this is a prequel to the franchise. A skilled Comanche warrior, and she wants to protect her tribe from a highly evolved alien predator that hunts humans for sport, fight against the wilderness, dangerous colonisers, and this mysterious creature to help keep her people safe. As far as Amber Midthunder, then Delagro. When it comes to Prey, I was pretty interested in seeing what a prequel going back 300 years before the first movie would be like. Predator is one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of the best sci-fi, action, and horror movies of all time. Predator 2, I've grown to appreciate. I did not like that movie at first. My initial plan was to release a video before this movie came out. We're talking about my updated thoughts on Predator 2 and The Predator, to give my updated thoughts. But that'll be after this, because I have the footage, I just never really got a chance to edit it in time. But Predator 2 I do like. Also, my favorite film in this franchise, controversially, is Predators. The Predator, I liked it when it first came out, but now, over time, it became a little frustrating for me. The studio mandate. I don't blame Shane Black for it entirely. Most of it comes from studio interference. And the two AVP movies, I liked the first one. That was my first exposure to Alien and Predator. And I hate the second one. So going into this, I was curious to see how this was going to go. I did like the trailers, but I wasn't pretty sold on the idea just yet until the second trailer. But I'm happy to report, with the director of Trachtenberg from 10 Cloverfield Lane and its cast, this is one of my favorite films in the franchise. Now, it's definitely not the first movie, and is nowhere near my favorite Predator film. But I can definitely say I definitely enjoyed a lot about this movie. Going off into the positives of Prey is we gotta talk about Dan Trachtenberg's direction. His direction, of course, is very creative, is very good. I love the way he directs this movie. He gets some great looking shots. He's able to take this premise of 300 years with a Comanche tribe going against a predator, and he uses it to his full advantage. It definitely goes for it. It definitely knows what you're gonna get. And I do appreciate the fact that unlike most of the other Predator movies, we take it back to the basics. Because even though I do love Predators and Predator 2 and the first Predator and AVP, I do like a more smaller scale Predator movie. It doesn't try to copy the first movie. It does its own thing as a prequel, showing how advanced these predators became, but strip them away from the modern technology and have them just do what the Comanche warriors do, but still have some elements of the predator that you know and love there. I appreciated what Dan Trachtenberg wanted to do there. I do like the representation of the Comanche tribe. That's very well done. It's not forced down your throat for here because of the nature of the story, and because of the story they're telling. It is very natural. It is very fluent to the story. It definitely does give you what you want. You do know what you're gonna get out of this and Comanche representation. And I know some people, again, they're gonna use that word. It's not exactly what you think. And I do like the way it wanted to use this Comanche representation. It's not thousands of Comanche warriors, it's a small enough, self-contained story with the Predator and the Comanches. And I do like the way they did that. The movie is beautifully well shot. Jeff Cutter, he did cinematography for Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 and the Orphan movie, which I do want to talk about that before Orphan First Kill. I gotta say, he got that down to its essence. He definitely understands the feel of what Dan Trachtenberg is going for, and you definitely see what he's putting on full display in the cinematography. There's some great action shots with the Predator fighting, killing people. There's some good shots, some scenes of the quieter moments with Naru and her family. So the cinematography is definitely there. You can tell this is a low budget, and you can tell this is meant for Hulu. But honestly, if this was for theaters, I think this would be more of the IMAX worthy experience. The movie is fast paced too. It's an hour and 40 minutes. Aside from one little issue, I do feel like the pacing goes at a brisk pace. It's not 2.5 hours, it's not 3 hours. It's an hour and 34 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes with credits. It gets you straight in, gets you straight out. And that's what a Predator movie is supposed to do. It's not supposed to be over 2.5 hours long. Acting in the movie, I think the actors in this movie are very good. We have to talk about Amber Midthunder. She is a star on the rise. She's done stuff like Legion, but she's actually very good in this movie. She does have the likability and screen presence. There are some moments where she can be a little bit whiny. Moments where she does fail at times, but it's to show vulnerability. They never once have to say she can't kill a Predator because she's a girl. Tribe against the Predator. She comes to her own through a nice progression. And I did find her to be an interesting character personally. And Amber Midthunder, she's going places after this. Now, some people won't think so, but I personally thought she did a good job. The rest of the cast too is great. You got Dakota Beavers as Tabe, the brother, Michelle Thross as the mother of them, and then you also have Dan DeLegro as the Predator. Which I gotta say, this Predator, he is not screwing around. He is wielding primitive versions of the advanced weaponing used by Predators in the other film. He is killing people left and right. He goes after this tribe. He's killing animals. This Predator, easily, he's one of the most brutal we've had since the original Predators and of AVP. So he is a badass in his own right, and he's still awesome. Score aspects, of course, you got a great score here. I do like the score of the movie. The score is very good. I also really like the production design and the editing and the visual effects for the most part. Some of the effects, even though there is some CG gore and blood, it is bloody. It does go for the blood, which you expect to, and it shows how much of a brute force the Predator goes around. And also, when you get into the final act, the final battle with the Predator and Naru, it is a satisfying battle. It is satisfying, it's fun, and I did enjoy myself a lot. Even this one scene in this movie, it was a big standout scene that everyone's been talking about. With him, the Predator just going full Predator. I love that. I think that was a really good moment as well. Now, as far as negatives, because I do have quite a few negatives that stop this from being the perfect Predator movie. One, I will say that some of the other supporting characters, outside from the mom, the brother, Naru, and the Predator, some of these other Comanche chill warriors, they're just the typical guys who don't think the main character can do anything. They're just there to fill up the body counts. Good performances out of them, but there's not much more to them than that. So I will say those guys did feel a little bit consequential and a little bit lenient to what the story was going for. There is some characterization for some of those guys that could have been a little bit better. Now, the brother, you do get the fact that he's trying to protect his sister. He also thinks she can kill the Predator. So I do like that whole relationship there. But the problem is I did want a little bit more of the brother before he inevitably gets the sacrifice. I'm not a fan of some of the CG animals there. Now, I get it, you don't want to kill animals for real, otherwise there will be a lawsuit on your ass. But you could have at least scaled down a little bit with some of that. You could have had an animatronic wolf. The dog was actually real, I will give you that. There was a real dog there. Some of the animals here, even though there's great gore, great blood, you don't really need that much. So I will say that is a little bit of a detriment to the film. We'll say the first couple minutes does take a while to get going. It does take at least 40 minutes for the movie to get going. Again, I appreciate the tension, the atmosphere, and the slow build up, but I feel like there's a way in the 30-minute mark we could have just went full speed ahead. Like, I'm not bored by anything. Of course, I was enjoying it, but I just felt like you could have, just trimmed it up a little bit. All in all, I have to say, Prey, this lived up to my expectations and definitely surprised most, if not all, the Predator movie fans. Not all of the fans are going to enjoy this, and that's perfectly fine. Prey, this may not be my favorite Predator movie, but I do think this is a fresh take on the Predator franchise that I think was much needed after the 2018 Predator movie. With a story that, while we've seen this before, and of course we have seen this type of story before, especially with Mulan, it's a nice way to switch things up and make it fresh in its own unique way, with lots of tense Predator action, some great direction, and the excellent performance by Amber Midthunder. And if this is what they want to do for future follow-ups, like do prequel-like stories of this, I would be for it. And like I said, it is a shame that this did not get to go to theaters, because I do think this would have been benefit from a theatrical release. But at the end of the day, I can still say I did enjoy myself with Prey, and I'm gonna give Prey an Epictastic. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys like what you see here, be sure to subscribe to my channel right here. I have plenty more content as far as movies, TV, and anime and music goes. I will also leave a playlist here and something here if you guys want to check out what I'm about. Join the Epictasticness, stay epitastic, and you guys keep it cool.